Mr. Chairman of WAPES, we are happy to welcome now our colleague, Madam Sonia Kwasi, from the Agency of Youth Employment of Cote d'Ivoire that has joined us right now. Welcome, Madam Emonas. The AG, the Agency for Youth Employment of Cote d'Ivoire. No, two representative with Mr. Kofi, three delegates from Cote d'Ivoire with Mr. Kofi. Now, I'm going to give the floor to Cherry, who has a communication to provide. Thank you. Just to inform you that we have attached to your files, you have many things. You have a small paper like this one, a small page. I haven't developed it. We have worked on a document on the effects of climate change. You will see some data. It exists in French, and both in French and English, and it exists in Spanish. But on the website of you have some codes, QR codes. We're going to give you this sheet. Yeah, it's here. So I think that it was, I thought that it was attached to the documents. And so we're going to share this with you. For you to have the QR code, you will have access directly to the documents. And this is something that we're going at the Executive Secretariat of AMSEPS. We will formalize documents. We gather data. This will help to orient your research and to go to some documents resources in order to document your own study or assessment. My friend innovates as we share documents. I will talk to you by this evening. A group SP of G7 that started to work on sharing practices regarding the development of green employment. You have a catalog of practices. It's one of the cards that you have here that will give you directly access to that catalog that is online. And it is not have the pretension to be a model for everybody. I will talk to you about it this evening. And you know that every year we try to do an assessment on the strategy and the stake for the public services for the coming year. This allowed us to share with the entire members of the 80 member countries, to have their concerns in the various regions of the world. And on our side, it is very enriching for the team, the Executive Secretariat. This allows us to make proposals of topics to be developed and to be assessed in the framework of our meetings. And you have the strategic plan and challenges. You have a small catalog of actions on the green economy. This is what I wanted to say. I'm going to come back to the works in this week that is disturbed. The AGIP team is highly mobilized for the organization. They are liaising with the panelists. As from tomorrow morning, we will have a normal operation, but it's not easy with this situation. But we're going to find our working program. Tomorrow morning we will start with the panels as planned. By this evening I will give you confirmation on how we're going to organize it. So the panels in the morning will be with persons. We have a first panel where we have external partners that come from NGOs or various ministries that will provide a certain number of visions and also actions that are ongoing. This is interesting. It helps to have a junction of projects that they are working on, and also we have a second panel. The second panel will be with the public services of employment. The idea is to share the experiences. We'll have a third panel that will be more mixed between public services of employment and some partners in order to establish partnership. Normally Wednesday morning, if by God's will, we will have a workshop and I hope that we will come to normal circumstances. The idea of the work that we are doing is to emerge projects, because behind on our side is to develop the possibility to research financial partners in order to work on a certain number of projects and experimentations that we can carry out locally in your various territories. Is the sound good? Ladies and gentlemen, ministers, chairman of WAPES, president of the African Association of Public Services of Employment, and the vice president of WAPES Africa, the honor chairman of WAPES, director general of AGIP, directors and representative of public services of employment, ladies and gentlemen, representative of ministries, services of state, and civil societies, and all institutions and organizations, partner organizations. First of all, allow me to express my regret, not to join you due to some commitment that prevented me from being present. I would like to send you this small video to thank you for your participation to this event. This event is very important for our network and for the beneficiaries of our action, meaning and our counterparts, particularly those who are private, who have problems of employment and revenue. This conference is focusing, is in line with the concerns of the world for its future and facing the climate change, that we have difficulties to hamper. The COP28 has reminded us for the public service of employment, it is a major stake. And if you are here, this means that you share with us those concerns. I wish you and sharing of rich experiences and expertise. I do not doubt that during these 3 days of sharing, good projects will emerge, ideas to be implemented, new partnership for together to face with success to the challenges that are subject to this conference. I wish also applaud the various teams both in Guinea, from AGIP, from the Ministry of Technical and Professional Studies and Employment in Guinea, that they have highly mobilized in order to organize this conference in the time frame that is that are very constraining. This meeting wouldn't be possible without the support of the highest authorities of the Guinea government. I would like, in consequence, to thank them to have accepted to host this conference. So I close my my thanks to all of you, and I wish you successful works and see you soon. Take care of yourself, and a nice trip back to your various countries. As you have understood, this was a sort of video message of the new executive secretariat that started its function held in Antalya during the board of directors meeting. She is called Manuela. She is our new managing director. If the technical side is ready, we're going to give you the mic for the presentation of your communication. Thank you. Evening, everybody. We're going. I'm talking on behalf of Morocco in order to present the experience of Morocco regarding sustainable development. The plan of my presentation, I will start with a certain number of concepts quickly. And the Moroccan strategy regarding the sustainable development, our national strategy for sustainable development for 2023, and our long-term and the green economy for the employment, the potential of creation of employment in Morocco, and the role of the public service of employment. And quickly, an economy, a green economy, that is the economy that provide well-being, a reduction of social disparity by preserving the environment. This is a growth that tries to conciliate between the economic growth necessary for the creation of riches, for the creation of employment, jobs, and also the requirements for the protection and restoration of employment. And the green jobs, these are jobs that contribute to restore and to preserve the environment. What is a green job? It's a job that can prevent all of the negative effects on the environment. What is a green job that contribute to all this? We're going to see that there are many green jobs. And so in terms of commitments, quickly, it's a commitment of more than 30 years. There have been a first speech pronounced by the King Mohammed VI. He was a prince in 1992. That was a crown prince. It was during the land forum in Rio de Janeiro, and Morocco committed because it is a signing party for the preservation of lands. The same thing in 2002, he was now king in Johannesburg. He pronounced a speech, another speech at the occasion for the adoption of the new constitution of Morocco in 2011. And since 1992 up to today, we have implemented a certain number of strategies, and there are practically strategies for each domain, like water. There have been a police of water has been set up in order to protect water and to do a surveillance of the use of water. There is a strategy for agriculture. You have heard about the strategy of the Morocco Green Plan. You have heard about it. Our first action plan regarding the renewable energies has been launched in 1995, and all this has been unfolded through a certain number of plans and strategies up to the adoption of the framework law 12 1999 voted in 2012, and that was followed concretely by the adoption of national strategy on the sustainable development. So this is the process of elaboration of the national strategy. It's a strategy that is inclusive, that has processed the entire components that involved all the stakeholders, because we need to have the civil society, companies, public services, the education. Everybody is concerned regarding sustainable development. It has been subject to a first assessment. Every assessment will give to a readjustment plan, and we can continue the deployment of our national sustainable development. And the vision is what? The vision is to implement the foundation of a green economy, and the inclusive one in Morocco. As I said, the green economy passed through the description of some activities, and find palliative activities. Simple examples in the towns, for instance, in order to preserve the towns, to make them clean, and the displacements by horses, transportation by horses in some towns are forbidden. We have to find solutions for these people, because they have to continue to live. So this had to be inclusive for each decision, to find a solution of the impact of that decision. And the objectives of the national strategy for sustainable development, first is the transition to a sustainable green economy, the protection of environment, and the fight against climate change, and also the strategies, the promotion of a balanced development within the territory. For each territory, which has its specificities, we have territories that has mountains, has ocean, and has forest. Each territory, we have to preserve its specificities and put in place action plans and necessary funding in terms of governance. I can say that there are many bodies of governance, and there is already a national committee of sustainable development that is chaired by the head of government, comprised of concerned ministers for the Confederation of Companies of Morocco, the Association of the Councils of Regions. There is a pilot committee where the Secretary Generals of the ministries and the Directors Generals of Public Services concerned. There are some other organs or bodies that are coming from the various sectors. In terms of principle, there are four big principles to comply to the international norms, standards, and to comply also with the charter that was adopted, that it's the National Charter of Environment and Sustainable Development that deals with some certain number of aspects. You will have the copy of the presentation. The principle 3 is the engagement of the stakeholders. I can tell you that each ministry, in terms of sustainable development, commits itself on an action plan. Annually, there is an assessment of this commitment, and we measure what is the gap, and we try to assess what has been implemented and what was not implemented. and it is costly. The sustainable development has a cost. I can give you a simple example among, for instance, the commitment for the sustainable development is the responsible administration. In this register, there were some objectives: the reduction of electricity consumption of 10% by year for 5 years. This translates into using light bulb, economic light bulb, and there is also for implementing solar panels and etc. There is a cost. So for this 5 years project, the cost is also help to reduce the consumption. For 5 years, it's a consumption that is divided into two. That allows to compensate the fee, the investment fees. This is a cost, and with the finance, we have to translate all this. It will be related to initial investment that will be got back in the coming years. And the fourth principle is an operational strategy. There is a content of it, and this is not only for Morocco, it is universal. The fundamental pillars, it is economic, we have social, we have cultural also. Regarding the sustainable development, it is very important. There are a certain number of aspects to be preserved. As I said, people that are living around the oasis, people who are living in the forest, you have to preserve their way of life, and also we have the environment. And the stakes, there are 7. We have governance, 1. We have the green economy. We have the biodiversity. We have the climate change. We have territories, sensitive territories that we have to take care. We have the social cohesion. I have cited some. There is also the cultural stake. For each step, there are some strategic axes. I talked about the exemplarity of a state, reinforce the institutional framework, the role of actors, its laws, decrees, and we have the reinforcement of the legal framework, the enforcement of surveillance, the sustainable development. There are some controls to be carried out. There is also, I would say, entities that take care a certain number of controls in terms of COD emissions, the sulfur. There are some measures, some action plans that we are not only on the, I would say, in all what that is related. We are also in supporting. It's not only the repressive. We have to support the companies that are in need. We have to reconcile between the modernization of the agricultural sectors and that of the sustainable development. The bioagriculture is an example. We are not going to mechanize the agricultural sector as a whole. The conservation of the rational management of fishing resources. And there are some periods of biological rest of fish, and that is decreted. There are some mechanisms that allow to measure the resource, the fishing resource, to assess if it is progressing or decreasing, and respect the periods where we have the reproduction of fish. These are period when fishing is forbidden. Other axis related to the other to secure the supply of water, improve the knowledge of pressure on the soil, improve the governance of climate. regarding the strategy of development of low carbon in long term, it's a strategy, ambitious strategy that have an integrated vision for by 2050. There are some profound transformation that we are expecting on the economic and social aspect, and we will have a significant outcome for the socio-economic, the creation of employment. We need to have a good coordination among the concerned actors to reinforce the economic competitivity, and the companies that would like to export must make sure that to the social and environmental responsibility, otherwise they will be completely forbidden to export. And we need to have an inclusive and sustainable inclusion, the transition to an economy of low carbon that need industrial transformation, and we need to convert and develop all related to research to avoid the technological dependency. There is a potential for the creation of employment. And also we have to favor the development of industry. I would say the internal industry in terms of the needs of training for the jobs, the green jobs. We need to put in place, as I said, all the necessary trainings, and on the other side include in the training curricula modules of sensitization for the sustainable development. We need to have the two. We have some specialists, for instance, for the renewable energies. We have the energy efficiency. We have 3 big institutes that train annually like 2,000 to 3,000 technicians, specialized technicians for the solar technicians, for intelligent houses, regarding the thermic isolation. And also there are some other institutes that are specialized regarding sanitation and processing of wastewater, for instance, and also the trainings that are related to sustainable development, repercussion of transition towards green economy. The potential is here that come up to 66 million of employment, 60 million at world level. There is also a loss of employment, 1% of loss of employment at reported to the occupied populations, working population, regarding the industries of high emissions. So we have to set up social policies in order to take those people that will lose their jobs, and we have to put in place trainings of reconversions and capacity building. In terms of potentiality of creation in Morocco, we have carried out a study and assessment in 4 domains: management of water, processing of waste, developing green space. In these 4, but between 2010 and 2020, there has been an increase of 7%. We went to 100,000 from 200 to 200,000 in 2020. It is an economy that is knowing a very continuous development. And we have found also that when we took the measures, the share of the green economy is 4 to 5.9% in 2020. There have been an increase registered, particularly for the the processing of waste, the permanent agriculture. The processing of waste allows to create many employment, many jobs, and to organize. This allows to organize the domain and allow those people that are doing the collect of waste or garbage for the dustbins to be self-entrepreneurs who are organized that work for big companies. And for the renewable energies, I would like to raise an important point. The important creation of jobs are not at the level of the central itself, and that is developing. I give an example. ANAPEC supported all the solar energy stations that were built in Morocco. In the north, Nord 1, Nord 2, Nord 3, all these. As a solar central employ 15 people. An aeolian employs 2 persons. I talked about it's the phase of construction of the central. It's where the staff we need plumbers, electricians. We have to know that the biggest jobs that contribute to the green economy, these are jobs that we know. We have to introduce some modules in order to give them the reflex for the sustainable development. This is what is important to optimize and to take care of the chemical products and think about thermic isolations when building houses. In short terms, this help to save money and to make profitable the construction, although it is it's like the issue of taking into account of earthquake in order to build on the standards, based on the standards of earthquakes. Regarding the solar and the biomass and the employment generated do not go over by 2030 a total of 40 to 50,000 jobs. The role of public services, I'm going to insist on a point. What I have presented can have 2 different impacts. I had a small discussion with the chairman of WAPES, my friend Ibrahim. It can be discouraging. We risk to say to go further. What I can tell you is that I have explained we have to work. There is a start for everything. There are some domains that sectors that do not require too much means. We have to start with a few sectors and then start to integrate this issue of green jobs and green economy. We should not expect that everything, when everything will be gathered, when we will have a charter, a framework, law, or a commitment at the highest level. But we have to start. If in each country the public service with its ecosystem choose 1 or 2 sectors and start already to see the needs of in training and how to incite youth to create their own small companies and think about the distribution. I think that it will give an interesting outcome. It will help the public services and to develop. I think that it can be discouraging, but it can be incitative too. So I hope that, and I call upon everybody, when you go back to your countries, you have to start simple. I listed a certain number of, I remind it, for the renewable energies. We have the solar, and I said there are big solar. We have also the solar panels, and the solar panels are at the disposal of everybody. It's people who are not related to the electrical network. It is and the technology has also evolved. The photovoltaic, this help to stock sufficiently energy. It helps people to have hot water and to have light. This help also youth to put in place small to maintain the solar panel, so that we need it. And the wind in order to have the wind energy. This is a sector also that requires investment, and the return on investment is not immediate. We have to use fuel and the pay on the basis of hydrogen, and throw be it the wind one that we're going to stock or that we're going to sell it, and the technology is not set. We have to have centrals that are operational through the clean hydrogen. For the energy efficiency, it's the same thing. We can train technicians. We tool them to go and do diagnosis and energy assessment at the companies, at the level of companies, and say to the company what they are going to win if they invest in a certain number of aspects, and what is the cost for the company. It is very important. We can expect to some reductions that are very important, providing through actions that are not complicated. For the circular economy, there are many things to be done in terms of transformation, things that are used. I talked about the electro equipments for the households. Seriously, the maintenance, even the Occidental, the modern countries, they have this issue of reparation and maintenance, because the level of life is not like it was before. If you have noticed, for people who have the possibility to visit a certain number of northern countries, they are now wearing old dress style. Instead of calling them old, we call them, these are dresses that cost less than 30 or 40%. And for the there are many things to be used. The sanitation, I've talked about it. For agriculture, I don't know, maybe in Africa we have countries where water is abundant. They do not mind about water, but in some countries water is rare. We have to optimize to the last drop. It's at this level that we can train youth for the drop and drop, so that they advise, and also to the water for the culture, for the farming. At the COP28 in Doha, they talked about the resisting culture. They have the Gulf of countries. They have launched something that is called green deserts. There are some cultures that can resist. We can today plant in the sand. There are some plants that we can we can water those plants with salted water. So you know, the vertical agriculture. I have seen even horizontal farming trees that are planted into walls that develop horizontally instead of developing vertically. So there is no limit, everything is possible. We just need to go into it. We have to search for the good solutions, and the youth are more imaginative at this level. And for the industrial oil, and that are regarded as that are used, there are many applications. We can use it as fuel. We can reuse them for many other usage. And here I'm going to summarize the role of a public service of employment, the role in three big first of all, we have to monitor the needs in competence. It can be through sectorial committees, the Ministry of Agriculture, and we for the public service, and the professional federation, we for the institution of training. What are the opportunities? What can be launched in with low cost? On which domain can we train? We can imagine this is not expensive, and the IT is democratized. We have some the big data. We can imagine platforms within Africa, and that we can try to search Ibrahim. We can find financing, funding in order to develop. We for the artificial intelligence, we can develop. We can project for 10 years or 15 years what will be tomorrow's jobs, and it can also be done through simple investigations. And in order to have partnership or training, it's and public service must have a service with all the centers, with also all the public and the private institutions in Morocco. We are working on the same level with the private training institute. They have many things to provide. To them, we can put in place very short-term trainings, 7 days of training on how to acknowledge and to pick leaves from medical trees. This can help people to have income. We can have also distance learning programs. We can have partnership with a platform that promote trainings to allow youth to train themselves on through distance learning, on digital sustainable development, and also to learn languages. The training annually, we have up to 250,000 youth and that follow training on languages learning through online, simply because we have also there are some jobs at international levels. We also talked about for the 3Ds. We have the democratic, and that is not evolving in the same trend. There are some countries that are losing in terms of population, and countries that risk to disappear. There are some countries that are more active, and there are more and more youths, and the opportunities are here, and that's why youth must prepare to learn languages. And the public service of employment has a role to play. The first service to provide to a youth is the training. What interests him is the training. Where are the opportunity of jobs for the opportunities for creating small companies, and where to have distance learning, structure the training and put it at the disposal of youth. This is the first #1 service that can be provided, orient the youth through a profound, through profiling that could be via the AI. We can say to the youth, due to what you have studied through your activities and experience and opportunities, this is what could be good for you. It is also a specificity of my service in Africa. We are very active for the entrepreneurship. We have to continue to do it. For the case of Morocco, we have launched this year a new program. We have found that we are dealing only with those who would like to create their companies for the first time, and we have found that there were some studies that were carried out. We found that first of all, there are many other entrepreneurs that are in necessity. 57%, only 43% of entrepreneurs that do it by conviction and by profile. And the 57%, we have to take them into account. We have an informal sector that remains important, and the share of the informal in the GDP is around 15 to 20%, and the micro informal companies weights also they need to develop. It's these companies that need to thrive. That's why we launched this program that this is called Me as an Entrepreneur. The candidate of entrepreneur with 4 C's, and the self-entrepreneur that would like to develop and to regularize his situation, the informal unit economics that would like to move to an organized unity, and the TPE that has less than $1 million turnover that would like to thrive. For each level, we have some services to be provided. After tomorrow, we will organize a big meeting with them before launching a tender for the training. We will have also the accounting and the declaration, and we're going to pay the fiscal declarations and take care of them. And for the informal units, we're going to subvention the rental for a year for them in order to have them to have an office where to work. These are the ideas that I wanted to share with you. I am at your disposal for any question if you have any. Thank you, Mr. Managing Director of ANAPEC. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that the floor is at any one of you who would like to ask questions. Mr. the Managing Director of PNP, the mic, please. I thank you for your brilliant presentation. We are really we are in need to see this presentation in order to go through it again and to examine it. I would like to indicate that all the countries do not have the same resources, the same capacities, budget capacity, and the same challenges. You know, Africa, you are African, Gabon is a country, a petrol country and a mining company. It's a country that in its GDP, 50% come from these two sectors. And when we talk about green employment or the fact that we are going to stop by 2035 the industry, the mobile, the cars will have thermic engines. We are afraid this will hit our public finances, and if there is we are threatened to hear about it. But what I would like to say is that what is the solution in terms of macroeconomic. We see the importance. Gabon is a leader of all what is related to the preservation of the environment, with our 85% of dense forest. We are part of the zones that ensure the preservation of the biomass and the biosphere. What is the solution in order to ensure beyond? There are two possibilities. Morocco has anticipated in the training. What is the solution in your view for countries like us? I am talking about Niger also. Imagine that they have a big activity for the uranium, clearly in its public finance discounts. What is the solution in terms of macroeconomic? What is a solution for the public policy so that we can have this adhesion and not to say we have understood and then how to do for us to embark this dynamic, not to see it as we are going to have harmful consequences. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. DG. And we take some questions. Thank you. I would like also thank the Managing Director of ANAPEC for the pertinence of his presentation. For the relevance, and we have had a bilateral regarding the symmetry that exists within the African continent in terms of capacity of absorption of internal solutions for the resilience and also alternatives to the climate change. Through all these programs, I see that ANAPEC is moving forward. This is important, and we call upon more commitment. When I look at all what ANAPEC says, I compare it with some other countries like West African countries in terms of implementation or designing of green jobs. I say that there is a long way to do. For the simple reason, if you look at, you talked about Ouarzazate, we had the opportunity to visit the Ouarzazate. If you see the cost for implementing this central of Ouarzazate, it is the cost is very high, and so we need to have a good political will and also economic resources to support the development of these scale centrals. Where I would like to what I would like to say to orient the debate is how to make sure that in the framework of the partnership regarding the various resolutions, the recommendation of the last COPs, so that these resolutions be not only a blank speech. We want it for the public services. We could do the relay to the sectorial ministers so that we start to introduce for the networking regarding all related to the adequate resources to develop all the human resources to implement in order to develop this kind of initiative. I do agree that somewhere the start is Africa is lacking behind. We do not have the necessary human resources and financial resources, and the priority, the daily priority, prevent us to adapt to this new situation, which is the reality is here. We are suffering from the impact from the European countries that pollute more, and we are suffering from the impacts. It is important that this link will be done by the WAPES. We shouldn't only limit ourselves at slogans. Thanks to the Managing Director of INP. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I congratulate you for the clarity of your presentation. And at this occasion, I have discovered that I have developed the green employment without knowing. I'm going to give you an example. There is an NGO that was specialized in the collect of waste, garbage, and the transformation of garbage with the village youth. I have supported them. It is privately. It's not in the framework of my service. I supported them. They transformed the garbage and they produce compost, and the compost were used by people who are in the gardens. This has helped to clean the environment of the town. It's our town. To clean the environment of the town and to develop also the agriculture. So due to the importance that it has regarding the sanitation of the town and creation of employment, I think that we're going to try to have a partnership with this NGO in a way, in an institutional way, between ANP and this NGO. Thank you. Morning, everybody. Mr. Director, Mr. Chairman. My intervention will be a summary of the two first questions. Director from Gabon, we say most of the time Guinea is a geological scandal, is one of the biggest reserve of bauxite among the three big exporter of bauxite, and the biggest reserve of iron ore. It's regarding the priorities, as you said in your intervention, the green jobs. We know that what it is, we know where it is, and we know what to do. We need to find a good mechanism to integrate in this various process in order to create green jobs. But in front of the limitation of the finance resources in West Africa countries, we have to focus our debates so that these countries take green jobs as a priority. Are we in Guinea going to think about green jobs or road infrastructures or railway? All this is not hampering. I'm not a climate-sceptic guy. The central issue is this in the African countries. Those I take the example of Morocco. This is a country that has a good level of development and with huge financial means. Guinea is having problems to create green jobs. How to be at the average regarding the creation of green jobs and also implementing projects related to the infrastructures like road or railways. Morning, everybody. Congratulations to the chairman of ASEPS for this presentation. This is inspiring. It's just to say that the National Office for the Development of Employment, we have not called it green jobs. We called it agricultural credit. We used to fund villages in order to stop them from coming to towns. It was in an informal way. We have relations with customs local chiefs, and the reimbursement of those loans is at 100% in some villages, but it is informal. In Jamena, we have tried. Producing is good, but selling the products is a problem. We have created a system to give small funds to the women in the market, 200,000 to be reimbursed within a year in order to so that they can go to the market in order to sell their products. Everything is done through an informal way. My question is that the presentation is good, and Morocco is leading this. Try to, as we are beginners in this, try to give us some orientations for starting. What are the partners that we can contact to help us to develop some of the projects that we have set up already, and how to process as Morocco has developed. I want to know if you are working with each ministry, which organization you are working with in order to facilitate the development of some of your programs, and your financial partners, if you can give us some orientations so that we inspire from your actions. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Director. I have a question that is against maybe the creation of green jobs. You know that most of our states in the south of Sahara, Mali, Niger, Burkina, for instance, even Guinea, we have a trend to destroy the ecosystem, to have wildfires, to set wildfires. This is against the creation of green jobs, because every year I think that in these countries there is a system of setting wildfires that destroy even cutting trees in order to make charcoal. So this is against the creation of green jobs. I think that do you think that there is no need to have a political commitment to put an end to this process, because this wildfire is destroying the whole African ecosystem? I would like to seize the opportunity to ask two small questions. I would like to know, in the governance of this tool, what is the role of ANAPEC in this, and also to know if our regional organizations or African organizations, if there is a role that these organizations that has entrusted to WAPES regarding the creation of green jobs. It will be the last question, Mr. Jibril. For me, it's not a question, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Gigi. I have seen successive with progressive intensely. Some we are not at the same level of development. We would like to think at what level we're going to start, where we are going, at what level we are. This is the fundamental questions that we have to ask ourselves. We are going to give the floor to the President to respond to those questions that were put to him. Thank you for all these questions. There is no bad questions. All questions are good. All questions are interesting. it's sure that first of all it is a matter of political will at the highest level of the country. No one can discuss that. There is a saying that says that the stairs must be cleaned from the top, not by from the downside. It's impossible. So we need to have this political will at the highest level. On the macroeconomic plan, there are two solutions, two big solutions, not three. We have the solution that consists of orienting a part of the riches and the green connection regarding the renewable energy, what the Gulf countries are doing. The Gulf countries are part of the countries that are leading the solar energy. It's where we have the petrol, where we have fuel. They are now anticipating with the money of fuel. They have the biggest solar station and wind energy stations. This is the first response they are anticipating. Secondly, we have this is a question of policies and other factors that I'm not going to cite. We have to develop trading arguments to have some investment. There are some investors that would like to come to invest based upon the contract terms and take part of the exploitation cost. It's not all the countries that have means. Not all. Morocco has not an infinite resources. There are some foreign investments, but it's a question of business environment. The country has to have investors has to be reassured regarding their investment. We need to have a minimum of infrastructures, and the capitals do not have a personality. They come and invest. Do not think that we, for instance, the solar stations, these are 100% Morocco capitals for the big projects of infrastructures or for big companies. It's not Moroccan capitals at 100%. So we do not have that money. So we orient a part of the resources and also capture investors dispersed through a good business environment. I say it, the economic growth issue is how to conciliate between a growth, creation of wealth, and the environmental issue. So here it's an issue of political choice. We have to continue to cut the trees or to think about something else and plan to say that the trees, we can continue to cut the trees on condition to replant others. So we have to include this and to see, and this is part of the green jobs, plant trees to replace those who have been cut, stop the progress of the desert. This is part of green jobs. We can respond to this way and continue to keep people live. And it is interesting what DG of SPE in Niger, this is what I told you at the end of my presentation. There are two types of reactions. it is impossible to make it one. And the second reaction is to say that we can inspire and start. What will be interesting during the 2 coming days is to select all these feasible experiences. We have to do a work of a brainstorming. This is what Niger has done, and then have a bank of projects and green jobs that are feasible, and you are the right person to feed that data. You can I can give ideas. You can go into details for the ASEP. I believe that we have to work on the funding, and I'm doing it with the African Development Bank and the European Union. It's to train experts of green jobs, 1 or 2, and to say that these are people that we are going to tool so that they become chief of a project, so that they design projects for green jobs and green economy. We can do it as we can set up a bank of green projects and continue to feed it, and then but nothing replace what and the public service can do. No one can do your job on your in your place. Don't rely on anyone. You have to inspire, benefit, draw profit from the benchmarking, the ideas. What the ANAPEC is an actor. I said that in an ecosystem, ANAPEC cannot do nothing alone. The ANAPEC work with all the ministries. I don't know how we work with all the professional associations and federations, aeronautical cars, the small and the big. We work with the bakers, with everybody. We have the sectorial groups that gather regularly. We listen to the federations, even if to have the small farmers, even if it is small crops, we have to work with everybody. We also work with the territorial level. We have 12 regions, and the employment is a prerogative of the region. And the regional council with the territorial collectivities have a mission regarding the employment. So with them, we put in place funding for that is beyond the banking system. In on other parts of the world, they use millions of dollars. People do not have access to the banking system. Even in Europe, I have been in many European countries. These are companies that the bank do not trust, and beyond $1 million of dollars turnover, and that the bank can be interested to that company. It is mandatory for the subventions given by the territorial collectivities or big companies that have the societal and environmental responsibility. It's to launch some competition and to award the biggest projects. This can create a competition. You can see with the big companies and draw them towards this direction. And we have many that have this obligation from the decision makers. The world is a village. All of the companies work with decision makers. They have an obligation to do this. So this is what I have to respond regarding this. Anyway, I think that the most important thing is to start. The most important things is to integrate it in the action plan of the annual action plan of the public service of employment. You have the structure of your action plan. You have to put a part of the green economy and green job. As president of WAPES, we're going to put in place trainings for the focal points for each public service in order to give you the basic knowledge. We're going to work on a bank of ideas of projects that are feasible, that are not costly. You're going to feed it, and then we're going to maintain it. From time to time, we need to organize this kind of event in order to do the situation and inspire from each other. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I return this conclusion. Put in place a bank of idea of projects for the future, in the future, and AMSEPS is going to accompany the PS for the improvement, for setting up focal points related to green employment, so that the PS start anyway, even by starting small. I think that on this note, Mr. Chairman, I'm going, before giving you back the floor to close this day, I would like to remind you that based upon our program that we wish to pursue normally tomorrow, we're going to start at 9:30 tomorrow by panel 1. This panel 1 is related to the subtopic emerging new jobs and sectorial transformation lever for the professional insertion for the informal sector. And these panels will be moderated by Cherry Plots from the Executive Secretariat of WAPES, and also presented by Alpha Amadou Balde from the Strategy Department from the Environmental Ministry of the Republic of Guinea. And he will have beside him Mr. Umar Kone, responsible in charge of production at the Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Guinea. His topic, valorization of organic materials through the composting. The third panelist will be Mr. Sori Kamara, chairman of the Federation of the Managing Association of West in Guinea. His communication will be on the entrepreneurship and green jobs in Africa. Yes. And finally, Mr. Jakite Mamoudou, legal advisor at the Tourism Office of Guinea. The topic will be on sustainable tourism and opportunity for an sustainable employability in Guinea. This is the first panel that will be set up tomorrow morning at 9:30. If possible, maybe in this same room, and if the big room that was reserved for this conference, if it is rehabilitated, we can go there tomorrow. We could go there tomorrow. The rest of the program will be communicated to you at the beginning of the works. Mr. Chairman, you will not be with us because the President he's a man with many jobs. We know him as a managing director of ANAPES, and he's a Secretary General of the Health, Employment and Professional. He has many jobs, many positions. and is the president of the African networks of WAPES that was set up in Rabat in 2016. So he's a man with many caps. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your presenter. Thank you for your brilliant communication that has allowed to lead us to success regarding this conference. We will draw the lessons from this. This is a WAPES conference. Thank you. I don't hear the person that is working, that is talking. It has a positive effect in Africa. One of the effect is that there were two choices: either to cross the Mediterranean Sea or to stay and then to work here. In all African countries, we see pavers that are made through the plastic recycling. I take the case of Gabon. We have two industrials in the communes of Cox, those who are making you do not find the iron ore waste. They collect it, they send it to the industrial guys, and also there are some guys who are collecting the waste plastics. All this is done in Gabon, but at the end, if you said, if the political level do not integrate it, because we are under industrialized, because many of these activities are evolving in the informal sector. If at the political, if there is no political will to, in order to replace in the GDP, to take into account this in our GDP, we have a mission. We have to implement the public policies. If the public policies are not updated, if the means are not engaged, we have a minister in charge of this and that. But the Ministry of Fuel and Hydrocarbon, in Niger we have the Ministry of Mining. So the political will must be here. It is important to do. We have to find a solution. This is the carbon credit. You are the polluters. You are the polluters. What we can do in order to receive the resources so that we support our population. The initiative, all of us, we have it. The bank of ideas is important. We have many initiatives that you have. Thank you. Thank you. So I would say that this is a debate. It's a fight that will continue. Who is the responsible of the deterioration of the planet? This planet is practically a single town. We live in the same town. It's like in a particular area there are some people who are destroying and some are building. So today some are compelled to share and support the cost of this impact. This is another debate. We want it or not, the human being is like this. Everyone is defending his own interest. So everyone has to find his own place. Regarding the carbon and regarding, I would like to know, in addition of what happened today, what is happening in the European countries is the strengthening of the legislation in order to take the lead. Anytime there is some champion companies that catch up the European countries, they put in place legislation. So this will never change. we can shout, we can say what we want. This will never change. Each country has to take care of itself and do not fold his hands and work. And to take necessary steps to have tools in order to progress, and also to go upstairs, because it never depends on the president of the country. I'm not going to dive into the debate. Even the president of the countries, be it Europeans or it's not the ones that decide. The issue is very complex, so we have to the decision is very complex for the land. It is there are some assessment that is done. There is no, I think that this means that I'm going to close this one. We have there is no social at this level. In the economy, there is no charity. There is no social. The president of NASEP say why Morocco didn't accept to have support or aid for the what is the interest to send 5 persons during the earthquake and the dog, and then come and then to remind to talk about it in the media, to say that they have provided support to Morocco with 5 persons with a dog. We have expectations for the reconstruction of the region that was hit by the earthquake. We have mobilized 10 billion euro for the reconstruction of the whole Atlas region. This is interesting. But sending teams for the firefighters or the aids, this is not the most important thing. So we have to everyone has to build his development plan, and first of all, it's the political will. I just would like to raise it regarding what Ibrahim said, the sub-secretary, the inclusion of the small enterprises. I don't know if you were with him, the Ministry of Burkina Faso of Sport. I met him during a football match of your team. The minister was not in Morocco. I received him with the delegation. With the delegation, you were not part of the team. There were many advisors, and there was a delegation of 8 persons. And now a point that you have raised that is fundamental. It is valuable for all the countries. Today, youth, they do not like what is related to the public. The public services must make a lot of efforts in order to win or to regain the trust of the population, and particularly the youth. It is what I explained in Antalya. We up to now we have dealt badly with this issue. We wanted to put youth in another situation. We wanted them to adhere to our way of seeing things. It doesn't work. They are the feet of the youth. We have to approach them and listen to them. And also we need to make an effort of understanding and also approaching them. The studies that were carried out have shown that this generation XY, they do not want to wear what we wear. They would like to work at a distance or online, and they we have to integrate all these issues. We have to integrate it, otherwise we will continue to miss the point. It's up to us to regain their trust via a certain number of approaches, including the associations for the needs. For instance, the experience that succeeded. These are the experiences to gain their trust through sport, art, and community activities. And the public service of employment must work hard to win their trust. We have some experience, what we call coach of the community that will liaise with the youth and put youth at the basketball teams or football teams. When they gain their trust, these coaches will propose them to come and follow a training or create a small company. It's where they come back to the public service employment. We have a big job to do. We have to change our way of doing things and work with humility in order to win the trust of everybody. To end, I wish you success for the 2 days remaining, the 2 remaining days. Thank you for your kind attention. Now, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our first day of conference on the development and promotion of green jobs and opportunity for the public service of employment held in Conakry in the Republic of Guinea. Mr. Chairman, you can suspend the meeting and we start tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you.